Let's get started because very important. Right now, a third woman has come forward accusing Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh of sexual misconduct. Attorney Michael Avenatti just revealed his client, Julie Swetnick. Julie says Judge Kavanaugh acted inappropriately with girls in high school and that he and his friend, Mark Judge, tried to spike party punch to get women drunk, most explosively, she says, quote, "I also witnessed efforts by Mark Judge, Brett Kavanaugh, and others to cause girls to become inebriated and disoriented so they could then be gang raped." She goes on to say, "I became a victim of one of these gang or train rapes where Mark Judge and Brett Kavanaugh were present. During the incident, I was incapacitated without my consent and unable to fight off the boys raping me." Julie joins two other women, Professor Christine Ford and Deborah Ramirez, who are accusing Kavanaugh of sexual misconduct. And Kavanaugh denies all the allegations, calling the most recent one ridiculous and from the Twilight Zone. He denies even knowing her. And you were really honest yesterday, Bo, which we always do here on the show, but you believe that this was a smear against Kavanaugh. Now that we have a third woman coming forward, do you still believe that?
I have to say, yeah, because I'm thinking about Avenatti. I'm thinking about who this guy is. I'm thinking about who he's represented. I think that's not the person I would go to if I were trying to present a credible claim, to be quite honest with you. And it's all about emotion. I mean, guys, we're talking about, circumstantial evidence. We're talking about hearsay. That's not admissible. And like Tori has said before, this is not a typical trial. This is not how this works. I think the process has been eliminated by her not making the claim through local law enforcement, which then triggers an FBI investigation. But more importantly, I'm looking at Brett Kavanaugh, the span of his career. And I think we've got a shot on tape, I believe, of some women that have come out to support him if we have that ready.
I'm here to tell you about the Brett Kavanaugh I have known for 38 years. A man who was in high school and is to this day a gentleman of the highest caliber who always treated women with decency and respect. The acts of which Brett is accused represent a stark departure from the behavior my friends and I have witnessed for more than 4 decades.
So that's 65 women that have come forward to support Brett Kavanaugh's
Which is important. It's very important, but it's also important to acknowledge that we now have 3 separate women all singing to the same tune, painting this very dangerous rape culture that allegedly happened at these parties. So why wouldn't we at least slow down and allow an FBI investigation to occur so we can make sure that this person, Brett Kavanaugh, is either cleared or that justice is served?
I hear what Bo's saying is that there's no evidence. Let there be evidence. Let the FBI ask Mark Judge, who's in the middle of all of this, who wrote a book naming a character named Bart O'Kavanaugh, who is a raging drunk, who seems a lot like Brett Kavanaugh, to come forward and just say, did this happen or didn't? I think we could all want a fair and imbalanced trial. That would be fair. Now, the other thing I want to say is breaking news. The Judicial Crisis Network on Kavanaugh, they are a conservative PAC that wants to help get conservative judges on the Supreme Court, has just come forward saying, quote, "We have to look into this further." This just came out moments ago. So even a conservative Judicial Crisis Network is saying, we're not comfortable with this. This is the chief person saying that. So you're seeing things turn now that that third woman has come forward.
All right. And meanwhile, we know more about the woman hired by Republican lawmakers to question Professor Ford at tomorrow's hearing. This is Rachel Mitchell. She's the chief of the Special Victims Division for Maricopa County in Arizona. She spent 12 years running the Sex Crimes Bureau, and both sides have been submitting documents ahead of tomorrow's hearing, including Kavanaugh's calendar from 1982. This is it here. And just take a look at the month of June with a whole week marked Beach Week. So considering the new allegations, the documents, do you know much about this woman? Did you look into her, Brandon?
I looked into it, and I actually had to ask Tori, well, why this woman? I don't want to speak on it because I'm still learning, and you guys have educated me thoroughly, but why Rachel?
Unfortunately, the Republicans have 11 men. They have no women on their Senate Judiciary Committee, so they want to feel optically like they're not the Anita Hill hearings where white men are questioning a woman and saying, we don't believe you. So they thought optically they would hire a woman who's actually been in the sexual assault. She's a prosecutor. They think they don't want to look bad and have that replayed over and over. So they're sort of using her as their conduit as a woman to look better optically.
But since they're hiring her, doesn't that kind of look bad? Doesn't it look like, oh,
are you afraid there's a bias?
Yeah, there's maybe
that
some
11
sort of
men
bias.
needed a woman to do their job. Yeah, it does look bad.
I will say though, I looked into her reputation in that office, and both I hate how this is so political, but it is, how both Republicans and Democrats say that both sides should be shaking in their boots because this is the type of woman that's going to take this very seriously, and she will not be swayed by bias. So
we just want due process.
Yes.
That's what we want.
Please.
I mean, I'm looking at Kavanaugh's statement that he's prepared for tomorrow. He says every victim deserves to be heard, and every subject of the accused gets to be heard too.
Then
so
allow them to be cross-examined and there to be an actual investigation.
We're not even sure.
Well, you know that they all want it to be a full and actual thorough investigation, and I have no problem with that.
And we hope it happens. We hope both sides are heard. That's my hope.